Welcome to BizWire. I'm Joseph Nordstrom in Beijing. On Wednesday, Chinese officials called on local authorities to improve their social safety nets to further reduce poverty. The State Council, often referred to as China's cabinet, said after an executive meeting that local officials need to be transparent with how their welfare budgets are spent. The directive for more openness was issued to reduce corruption in how welfare funds are used, which a recent audit showed to be subject to much corruption. A statement afterwards said records of who receives government stipends should be kept open to curb abuse, and so the money goes to those most in need, not the most connected. Government audits of welfare programs have revealed issues such as poor management, misuse of funds, and policy loopholes, which limit the effectiveness of anti-poverty programs. The statement from the executive meeting, which was presided over by Premier Li Keqiang, said those receiving benefits should be published and their eligibility verified. Besides the focus on transparency of a way to hold authorities accountable, the State Council's statement stressed that social assistance should be combined with medical care, educational aid, and housing allowances to help those struggling in poverty in urban and rural regions. Openness and transparency as a method to check and balance power at lower levels of government has been talked about by Beijing officials for quite some time, but progress and its opposite have also been battling for just as long. Even in the state-run China Daily, experts said it is difficult to guarantee fairness with public assistance given the lack of supervision and abuse of power in local communities. Social policy researcher Yong with the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, the government's top think tank, says the basic system of allocating poverty relief fund quotas by local officials should take the blame and be reformed. Yong says community officials, especially in rural areas, sometimes allocate the quotas to relatives and friends, leaving out those really in need. Perhaps the greatest story of the past 3 decades is the historic reduction in extreme poverty in China and the resulting knock-on effects in other countries as well. In 1978, the year China began its opening and reform period, the rate of extreme poverty was as high as 85%, and the World Bank estimates that last year, this figure, representing real people, was down to 7%. The World Bank measures extreme poverty as those living on less than $1.25 per day. In China, this means that over 700 million people lifted themselves out of a very desperate situation in a relatively short period of time. Global poverty rates were greatly affected by China's rise, and according to the president of the World Bank, Yong, the last 2 decades has seen poverty cut in half from 40 to 20%. Globally, slightly more than a third, 34%, live on less than $2 per day. While China is on the verge of being categorized as a middle-income country, widespread inequality, which is hard to measure accurately because the government views such a statistic as sensitive, means there's still much work to be done, despite the very real and significant success in improving living standards for hundreds of millions of people. You're watching BizWire on the Blue Ocean Network, China's first and only privately owned English-language broadcast media. Our full episode can be seen on our website, BONTV/biz-wire. In just a second, we'll continue with more insight into the big picture of China's economy.